my next guests flat out represent the best in humanity. When they noticed a homeless man outside of their building, they didn't ignore him, as often we do. They didn't get nervous. They befriended him. And then they went further, way further, and they helped reunite him with his family, who he hadn't seen in 2 decades. That's why they are today's Rad Humans. The ending is my favorite. Please welcome Randi and John, y'all. Well, thank y'all for coming.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm so glad we can see each other in person. And you're a pod, so you can sit next to each other.
Right?
We haven't had anyone sit next to each other yet. So this is awesome. So Randi, I'll start with you. You're the first one who noticed Pedro, right?
Yeah. So we live in Hollywood, and as you know, you're in LA.
Yep.
The homeless crisis is out of control.
Yeah.
So I've kind of made a point to make sure that I acknowledge people and say hello. And Pedro would say, good morning, you know, good evening, whatever, when I was walking my dog. But this one night, I went down, and I heard him just thinking out loud. And I was just standing near him, and he was saying, I'm a human. Like, look at me, talk to me, don't just stare at me, don't laugh at me.
Yeah.
Like, you'll see I'm an educated man if you talk to me. And it just hit me. And I was like, it just broke my heart, truly. So I ran upstairs to John, and I run a charity during the holidays called Project Backpacks, where we hand out backpacks full of essentials to homeless. And I said to him, I was like, there's a guy outside, I need to go talk to him, and I want to bring him a backpack, so can you go down with me? So we did, so we went down and started talking to him.
Well, I mean, what stood out immediately was truly how intelligent this guy was, and kind and gentle.
Yeah.
And like Randi said, we just wanted to talk to him, give him a little time. And one thing he pointed out was how tired he was. He said he'd been on those streets for 8 years, and in that time hadn't been able to go to sleep. I mean, the ground is hard, the air gets cold, it's loud.
Nervous. You're living outside, yeah.
Absolutely, and he said, if I ever let my guard down, people will take things from me. So he was saying, I'm trying to hold on, I'm trying to get through this, I'm trying to be strong, but I'm just so tired.
Yeah.
So we said, what can we do for you that truly would help you? Like, what would change your life? Like, what can we do? And he's like, there's really nothing you can do. All I really would want was to be reconnected with my family, because I haven't seen them in 20 years. And I'm like, okay, I'm on it. Like, the light bulb goes off, so I took out my phone, and I was like, just give me any details that you have about your family. Like, do you remember where your parents were born? What are your parents' names? Any details you could give us. So we started taking notes, and then we like ran upstairs and got on Ancestry.com, every type of record finder you could be on, and just started searching as hard as we could.
The next morning, I just kind of started going down the list, making wrong phone calls, calling numbers that had been disconnected. A number called me back that hadn't answered when I called and said, hey, I missed a call from you. I don't know you. Was this a butt dial? And so I'm glad you called back. Okay, so I'm trying to help a guy find his family. It's probably the wrong number. Let me just describe him to you, and if anything rings a bell, great. If not, I'll leave you alone. So I described Pedro, and she said, one of those names might ring a bell. Do you mind if I pass your number on? I said, please do. And almost immediately my phone rang again with a gentleman's voice. He said his name was Pierre, and he said, I'm calling about the man outside your building. I said, okay, well, I don't want to jump to conclusions. Let me describe him to you. Maybe he's your nephew. And so I started describing Pedro, and when I was talking about how intelligent he is, Pierre goes, that's him. That's 100%. He goes, oh my God, that's my nephew. He goes, John, we have been looking for him for 20 years, praying every day. Every year on his birthday, they all get online and look for him. He's like, I can't believe it. What do we do now? You know, like, well, he's here in Hollywood.
Wow. So what happened next, Randi?
So the night before, when we just planned on getting him a hotel room, I posted on social media. And I was like, you know, we met this guy, just want to get him a couple nights sleep. If anybody wants to chip in any money, that would be great, like no pressure. And then we woke up the next morning to already $3,000 had been raised.
I will cry right now.
It's about to happen. I'm like preparing myself.
So nice.
Yeah, so we had $3,000 just to get him in a hotel, and then I posted an update and said, we found his family. You're going to take over soon. Okay. I said, we found his family.
Wow. So, I mean, how is Pedro doing today? Do y'all keep in contact? Do you ever talk to him?
Yeah.
Daily.
Oh my gosh.
He's amazing. He's in Atlanta now.
I am on the verge.
Yeah,
Please don't cry.
I'm sorry, I'm trying not to.
I'm on the verge of a waterfall just.
Yeah, he actually just told us that he's enrolling in college to become
Wow.
a counselor and motivational speaker.
What an amazing, like after 2 decades.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
That
Like-
I can't either. It sounds like a movie.
Yeah.
Like it's yeah. Well, before we go any further, I want to bring Pedro into the conversation. So Pedro, how are you doing?
Hi.
Hello, Ms. Clarkson. It's an honor to meet you.
Oh my gosh, no, and I just love these Miss Clarkson. I'm looking all Texan. That was very Southern of you. I'm into all of it. So Pedro, take us back to what your life was like before you met Randi and John. Obviously very difficult.
Well, it's kind of ironic being homeless and blocks away from the Hollywood Walk of Fame, the Hollywood sign, Sunset Boulevard, and millions of people come to that area every year to walk around and see it, but there is a underrepresented demographic of people that's there, a homeless population that people really don't even see. And people have a tendency to believe that everybody's homeless that's illiterate, drug addicts, alcoholics. I'm not saying that that's not the case per se, but there are some intelligent individuals out there that are homeless as well, that just need an opportunity, that need someone to care, such as John and Randi cared for me. And I can't even express, the thankfulness that I have for the both of them.
Yeah, I mean, what you said, it's so poignant because, even myself, like my family, we grew up and hard times hit, situations happened to where we had nothing. Like if we hadn't had our church and our people coming together, our community helping us, like whether it was with clothes, whether it was food, whether with just, listening, like you're right, they have this preconceived notion of how people end up where they are. And well, what happens when you assume. So, but Pedro, what an amazing testimony you have now too to help others. So not long ago, Randi and John befriended Pedro, who lived on the streets right outside their apartment. What started out as an offer to put him up in a hotel grew into so much more, life-changing more. They helped reunite him with his family, who he hadn't seen in 20 years. That makes them totally rad humans, and we love celebrating rad humans on this show. Pedro's now back in Atlanta living with his Aunt Barbara and his cousin Mia, who are joining us now online. Hi, Mia. Hi, Barbara. How y'all doing?
Hi.
Hi, Kelly.
Oh my gosh.
Hello.
Well, so tell us what you felt when you heard about Pedro from Randi and John. Like that had to feel nuts.
Well, I could not believe that we found him. So it was the most exciting thing you could think of. I got the call from my Uncle Pierre to say, hey, man, we found Pedro. I was like, where? And I'm going.
I love that. So, Pedro, what was going through your mind when you first saw your family again? There had to be so many different emotions going on.
Well, to say so many emotions, that kind of minimizes it. When we initially arrived at the hotel, John was driving, Randi was in the front seat, I was in the back seat. So when we pulled up into the hotel, I got out of the car, and when I stood up, my uncle was walking out of the hotel room, and he walked past the pillar and he double-taked and looked back, and we met eyes, and I just, initially, it was kind of scary because I was gone for so long. And our minds is one of the strongest tools that we have, and we have a tendency to play tricks with ourselves. So I kind of belittle myself more so that I've been out here so long. I don't know if I'll be accepted, if they still love me, what is my appearance or anything like that. But family love is unconditional, and I found that out, that no matter how I looked or what my possessions were, that they loved me unconditionally. And when we first met, we just started to cry. And I looked around, and John and Randi were at the car crying too. So it was, like I stated earlier, the people on Highland Avenue probably were driving by and looking like, what's going on with these people over here? So we just, it was an emotional reunion, to say the least.
That's so beautiful. So, Aunt Barbara, what was it like when you saw Pedro again?
Oh, I just don't have words for it. I used to take care of him when he was a baby. And it felt so good. I just couldn't wait to see him. I just couldn't wait.
And you were there too, right, guys? You were there when all
yeah.
that happened. So it was pretty emotional, right?
You think I'm gonna ugly cry on the show? In person, it was no. We literally when we pulled up, like he said, he was in the back seat, and I could tell that he like locked eyes. They were still checking in the little glass room in the front, and I was like, John, don't even park the car. Like, let's go. And so we literally abandoned the car in the middle of the driveway and just like ran out. And then when he first saw his Uncle Pierre,
Wow.
it was just like an embrace that it felt like it lasted 3 minutes. I don't know if I'm dramatic. I don't think I was. And I'm crying. John's crying. He's not going to admit it, but John's crying. And then we see Mia. It was still checking it, and then she turns around and sees him and like comes and jumps on him. And it was like you could see in that moment that even though 20 years had passed, like that was it. That was love. It was just like
True perspective.
yeah, and just the most magical moment to see, and just to see him after, like I said, like seeing him then versus the first day we saw him, he was like a new person, and like watching him actually take in that his life was about to change was just literally the most incredible.
I mean, it reminds me, I loved singing Amazing Grace in church when I was a kid. It reminds me, I was once lost and then found. I mean, what a visual.
Yeah.
Like that's, I mean, I think I sang those words so often as a kid and never really even visited the true impact of that until seeing that picture and hearing y'all's story. So Pedro, tell us what your life is like now.
Well, I relocated to Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, and to be reacclimated into society after being in somewhat of a underserved demographic, so to speak. And like I said, people minimize the normalcies of life, and being on the street for so long, just simple things like going to the refrigerator and taking a shower and sleeping in a bed. I mean, those are things that society takes for granted. And like Randi mentioned earlier, I have a passion that I'm currently enrolling in Georgia State, so I could pursue my psychology degree, so I could give back to people so I could become a counselor, so I could help those that may be in the situation where I was, or may be headed into that situation, that I could give them something that could thwart that and may be able to help someone. And hopefully there are more Johns and Randys out there that could see someone and that may be able to help them and give them an opportunity. I'm not saying that everyone befits that, but there are, because even diamonds are dug up out of mud. So with that being said, that some of the most beautiful things that this earth cherishes, they come from mud. They come out of dirty soil. So I was that diamond in the rough, and John and Randi found me. And so hopefully someone else could get that opportunity as well.
You're right, that diamond in the rough story, it's beautiful. It's an incredible thing.